Welcome back to Manny Man the Weatherman's channel. This is the tropical storm Idalia update, which was previously Invest 93L, which has since from this morning, I'm sorry, from this afternoon, become tropical storm Idalia. It is coming together to look like it's going to be the first hurricane to impact the U.S. Could it be the first major hurricane? Well, the more water it stays in, the more rapid intensification it does have to gain strength. I don't really see Category 3, but the chance is there on the lower side of a Category 3. But a high end Category 2 is not out of the question. The National Hurricane Center is already predicting a Category 2, a low end Category 2 hurricane. So basically, we are watching this area pretty much between north of Tampa, all the way just to the southeast of Panama City or the Apalachicola area. So we're really getting now some certainty. Once this gets out of the Yucatan and the Caribbean area, we're gonna start seeing more of certainty or less uncertainty than we are seeing now. There's still a lot of time, a little bit. We have about 3 more days until this does make landfall, but it does look like it is shaping out to be a landfall within the Big Bend. Once again, just north of Tampa or just west of Apalachicola. There is a possibility that it could make landfall either in that area of Apalachicola or in the area of Tampa. But like I said, the most certain area does look like it is going to be right in the middle, right in the Big Bend area. So this is the newest update to the graphic of the high impact area. More counties have been added all the way down, just south of Tampa, and it does look like what we're going to be dealing with is storm surge as the main threat in Tampa, along with strong winds. Flooding, not so much as what they're going to see to the north, but you could still get some isolated areas of some flash flooding. The yellow has been extended very far south due to the storm surge threat and the wind. The wind threat is looking more increasingly more of a big threat, along with flash flooding. Flash flooding is looking also very, very bad for parts of northern Florida, towards Jacksonville and Tallahassee. But it does look like we're going to have a pretty big swath of an area of seeing some pretty intense impacts, at least from this storm, because we don't have a good history with I-named storms. But this is the old graphic, and you can just see how it's really expanded there. If you just go back and forth, you can see uh, the expansion to the south, and the expansion to the warnings. I'm not the warnings, the extreme impact. So there is a big area that we're still a lot of uncertainty, but it does look like these areas look like they have the best chance for anything. So here are the watches and warnings within the Florida State area. We have the storm surge watches extending all the way from Naples and Marco Island area, all the way up to the Apalachicola region. This is where we have the highest threat for some storm surge. And storm surge looks like it's going to get high in some areas, especially near the Big Bend, which I will show you later on in the video. Then you have the hurricane warning. The hurricane watches, those extend pretty much from southeast of Tallahassee through Tampa, just to the north of Fort Myers, I believe. Yeah, just to the north of Fort Myers. And that is, the general area. We're gonna see some the stronger winds. Would not be surprised if it gets extended a little bit more north into Tallahassee, near Jacksonville. And then we start to see more, of course, tropical storm watches as well. So here's the current satellite imagery of tropical storm Idalia. Currently, it has 40-mile-per-hour winds, making its turn back to the north. It did circle around and go. It did go to the south, and now it's making its turn to the north, coming towards its landfall within the next 3 days, towards the Florida area. So anywhere in this red area, you have to be prepared for some of the worst impacts. But anywhere outside of that, Miami, Key West, that area is not out of the area as well, out of the risk at all from this storm. This is a pretty big storm, as you can tell. There's a lot of convection, especially once it gets into the Gulf. It's gonna tap into a lot of that moisture and energy. So the tornado threat is there for parts of Miami potentially. We can't really rule that out. But of course, there's that chance there. Here's the National Hurricane Center's cone and warning graphic here of Tropical Storm Idalia. Again, 40-mile-per-hour winds moving to the northeast at 30 miles per hour. This is as of the 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time advisory. The next one is at 9 p.m. Central Daylight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. So this is continuing to move to the north now. We're starting to get some of those stronger winds now, starting to pick up on the eastern side. Going to move just through Cuba of those strong winds. Then it's going to make that landfall right potentially right in the Big Bend. The trend really looks like it's going to the east more, so Tampa really gonna have to watch out for some storm surge. But I think the highest threat for any strong storm surge is right in the Big Bend area, which is right what we see here. The peak storm surge forecast does show 7 to 11 feet. Pretty much, I'm not gonna pronounce those rivers, but pretty much from the pretty much from the the central part of Florida through the Big Bend, nearing the capital of Tallahassee. And then you have the 5 to 8 and 4 to 7 foot storm surge forecast. That's just north of St. Petersburg in the Tampa area. And then you have the other area near the, I'm not sure how I'm going to pronounce this right, but the Aquila River, or Ukiah River. So right in that area, we're having that up to potentially 4 to 7 feet. And then up to 2 to 4 feet from the Indian Pass River as well. Well, not the Indian Pass, from Indian Pass, we could be seeing up to 2 to 4 feet of storm surge at your peak. And then we have a big swath of 3 to 4 to 3 to 5 to 2 to 4 feet, pretty much from Tampa Bay all the way down to Charlotte Harbor. And then the 1 to 2 foot range, 1 to 3 foot range from the East Case Sable to dry Tortugas and the Florida Keys as well. Florida Keys gonna have to watch out for some possible erosion with the winds coming straight from the south. Tropical storm force wind speed probabilities are looking a bit high as well. You have, of course, the highest threat going to be right there where we have Franklin, but we're focusing on Florida right now. Bermuda gonna have to watch out for Franklin as well. But Florida does look like we do have a 50 to 60% and a some areas near the 70 80%. That's really gonna pick up later. Even parts of the Carolinas gonna have to pick up. I'm gonna pick up in some of these potential tropical storm force winds. And if we look at the hurricane force winds, we do have 5 to 10 and 10 to 20% chances of hurricane force wind probability in the state of Florida. So there is the chance for some strong winds to be included on shore instead of offshore. Here is the WPC Weather Prediction Center's day 1 through 5 rainfall forecast here. You can see, like I said, we're not going to see much in the way of rainfall from Miami to Orlando to Tampa, but you are going to see lots of heavy rain in Tallahassee, Apalachicola, that general area. You're looking from 6 to 10 inches of rain within that whole swath. So there is a high chance for some of these rainfall totals. The Weather Prediction Center only has a slight risk of at least 15% here. I do see this becoming a moderate. I do think that there will be a moderate issued. If it's not for the state of Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina, where we have a little bit more mountainous areas and runoff could be an issue. But, this is going to be a pretty big flash flooding event as well. It's not just going to be, mainly just wind at all. But, we have to watch out. We're going to have to continue to track models and forecast guidance to see what does happen. All right. First, let's go ahead and look at the spaghetti plots here of the National Hurricane Center. Here is the guidance as of today, 18Z. It does show mainly, like I said, the general area being within the Big Bend area, dead in the middle of the middle of the Big Bend, and it's gonna move through, and basically gonna cut through Jacksonville, Savannah, up towards Charleston. It's gonna make a strong turn to the right. This is due to a high pressure, very strong high pressure coming from Canada to the northeast. That's gonna pretty much wipe this thing out, and then we could see whatever once this high pressure does move on out. We're gonna see what does happen after with some of that potential re-strengthening. Not seeing like that anymore. Models kind of backed off of that since yesterday, but we're gonna have to continue to watch because these can change. There's a lot of uncertainty still. Even though it does look like it's pretty confined there, this is not the only area that we're watching. But let's go ahead and look at the general. I think this is the GEFS. Yes, the GEFS. This is their 12Z run, and you can see again. This is now off to the west. I think the new 18Z is coming out now, but their general area is off to the east. I'm off to the west, hitting like the Apalachicola, Tallahassee area. So, like I said, there's not much uncertainty, but there is still uncertainty within model ranges. And then we're gonna look at the PS cyclone locations, and they're off to the east. Euro has always been off to the east since they even formed the storm. So they've really been given a better idea of what could happen, and they've really been given that as well. It's going to move through the middle of pretty much the Big Bend and then move on off. We're going to take a look at a few hurricane models real quick. Here is the HMON in the HMON. This is their 12Z run. You can see they move through parts of Cuba, given that wind. Do not, really get too much. Don't get really held up on where they make landfall because this was 12Z, so it's a pretty old run, but it's the latest that they have. It moves and makes landfall just pretty much next to Apalachicola, moving through Georgia, and then up towards North Carolina. You can see this one's way more north. It has rain and wind hitting parts of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, so that's not gonna happen. There could be some a few rain showers in Delaware or Maryland, but this is really gonna move off to the east. And then we're gonna look at the I believe this is the same model. Yeah, this is the same model. This is the same model. So let's look at the GFS instead then. And we're gonna go ahead and take a look at what they show within this in general area as of 18Z. So this is a new run from the GFS, and they looks like they make landfall. Okay, so they have moved west. So that is east. So it does look like they make landfall still in the Big Bend, giving some strong impacts to Tallahassee and parts of Tampa. There's gonna be a lot of storms. I think there's gonna be a lot of storm surge in Tampa and parts of the Big Bend, especially the Big Bend. And then they move it offshore, giving some heavy rain to parts of Georgia and South Carolina. That's why I do think there could be that threat for some very heavy flash flooding. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Euro. Their 12Z, they make that landfall again right there in the dead middle of the Big Bend, making it offshore. I think one thing that is uncertain is the flash flooding, where it will set up, but we do know that the flash flooding threat is there. They move it offshore, and then they move it out into the Atlantic. Another thing, I'm just going to go back to this model and see if I can change it to the, yes, here we go. Here's the HWRF, a little bit more better than the HMON, but you can see they bring it through Florida, making that landfall. Again, these are 12Z. These are a bit farther out, but we're gonna have some updates probably tonight, given that. And then we're gonna look at a couple other models. The HAFSA model. This is on tropical tidbits. They're coming out with an 18Z, so this is a bit more fresh. That doesn't run fully. And we're gonna look at the HAFSB. Looks like they don't come out fully either. But either way, these are going to be areas to watch. Again, we got to watch out in these areas regardless of where you are in Florida. But be prepared for some storm surge, rough seas, maybe some life-threatening rip current within parts of Florida. because it could get pretty severe in some places. Either that be tornadoes, flash flooding, very, very strong winds, or some storm surge. So if you are in Florida currently, this is your time to prepare because this storm is not backing down anytime soon. We'll just take a look at satellite. This is now its course to go back to the north and make its landfall in Florida. That's its next destination, Florida. So please be prepared in Florida. Get your preparations out and get your preparations done today. You only have 2 days after today to get prepared. Because it is going to get pretty severe. I was about to say, I thought I had another graphic here. This one, the National Hurricane Center showing you when you have the earliest and most reasonable arrival time for its tropical storm force wind. Tuesday at 8 a.m. looks like the most tropical, most reasonable time in parts of Florida through Tuesday 8 p.m. And then the most likely arrival time would be Tuesday at 8 p.m. to Wednesday 8 a.m. So landfall does look like it's going to be on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. So it does look like this storm does move a little bit faster now. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all had a good time. I hope you all, or anyone who's in Florida, does take the preparations that they do need today or at least tomorrow to get this out of the way and make sure that they're ready as the storm is slowly starting to back down. Slowly starting to make its way to Florida. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, goodbye.